Good morning and welcome back to another episode of Dubai Works Business Podcast. On today's show, we're joined by Elinor Davies-Farn, a Welsh entrepreneur and founder of natural hair care brand Olew Hair. No, yeah,
Yeah,
we're
Olew
good.
hair, yeah.
Olew Hair, yeah. Sorry, Olew Hair, an award-winning hair care brand that specializes in natural, vegan, and cruelty-free products, specifically designed for curly hair. I can see where that came from. The brand was born out of frustration at the lack of natural hair products and the need for a solution. Uh, the Eleanor's story is that she had £100 on her kitchen table in a creative hub of Leighton, East London. Eleanor launched the brand in 2018 with those resources, and all products are made in the UK, where Eleanor is recently named as a leading 30 under 30 female entrepreneurs last year. So Elinor decided to bring Olew to the UAE and Gulf region in February this year due to the organic support and loyalty she's already got for the brand in the region, which is really interesting. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
So great story. So yeah, can you tell us a bit more about the brand and that moment where you kind of started it?
Yeah, so Olew was born out of the frustration of me not finding the right products for my hair. And a lot of ladies will relate with the fact that we used to put mousse in our hair and it used to be very, very crispy kind of looking. But also it was born out of me wanting to share the confidence that embracing my natural hair gave me. So from the age of 12 until I was about 19, 20, I used to straighten my hair twice a day. I used to be obsessed with just having straight glossy hair, and clearly I'd never could ever have straight glossy hair because look at my hair, it's not straight or glossy at all. And growing up, especially like during the 90s and early noughties, I think straight hair was the ideal of beauty and like the beauty norm. And I think a lot of women, especially even men, straighten their hair, can relate to that feeling of not feeling truly beautiful or handsome because they didn't have that hair. So I'd always kind of strive to straighten my hair and have this obsession with it. And it also just lowered my self-esteem while I was growing up. So as soon as I started to stop straightening my hair, this whole new personality inside me came out and my true self came out, and I was like, there must be so many people out there that felt exactly like me. So that was the main driver of why I wanted to quit my corporate job, and everyone thought I was absolutely nuts because I'd never sold hair products, didn't have a clue about hair things really. I was just in the car industry, which is completely opposite.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was born out of those two kind of streams really. And I decided to create, the first product was the oil, which I'd made in my kitchen for years before that because my hair was very dry and it wouldn't grow. And a lot of people can probably relate because if you bleach it and straighten it and blow dry it, there's just no nutrients in your hair. So the oil is really good for growth and repair.
Wow.
So that was really, really good. And I'd go on the tube because obviously I lived in London, and I had random women ask me what I put in my hair. And I'd be like, oh, I just make this in my kitchen, I'll give you some. And they're like, okay, yeah, that's fine. I'd meet these women and just give them my potion and just like be on my way. And then there was one day I was in my corporate job, and I hadn't washed my hair for a long time because I just was too busy. So I had it scraped back in a plait, and I was speaking to a customer and that I'd finished. And one of the managing directors, who was a woman, said, oh, your hair looks a lot more professional like that. You should really have that like that more often. And I was like,
wow,
what?
Rude.
So rude. And I was like, if that's happening to me, there's women in other kind of Afro-Caribbean and Indian, Emiratis, we all have very coarse, wavy, curly hair. And I was like, if that's happening to me, it must be happening to so many other women. I was like, I need to do something about this.
Yeah.
This is not good.
Good story. Right. So many kind of real, I say real, but entrepreneur stories is born out of frustration of not finding the products. But sort of having that frustration and having the will to do it is one thing. How did you actually turn that homebrew potion into a product and a brand?
Well, I quit my job because I felt like, I think some people can work their job and then do their side hustle at the same time, and I'm kind of...
What was the job?
So it was working for BMW Group, So I was on a graduate scheme. So I was the first product genius for the brand, which was really fun.
Cool. Nice
then
title.
I did sales. Then I did account executive role. So I'd look after footballers, rugby players, golfers. I'd go to like Wentworth, the F1, and it was very, very glamorous. And I'd have a really nice car, and it was it was so fun. And I learned so much in terms of kind of marketing, sales, PR, and understanding how to sell things really. So yeah, I was very, very blessed by that. By that part of my life. But I decided to just quit because it wasn't really fulfilling me. And I'm sure a lot of people, and I've listened to a lot of your podcasts, lots of people feel the same way. It wasn't really, the money was good, but it wasn't making me tick as a person. And I was like, there must be more to life than just waking up, going to work, like kind of being like a robot. So yeah, I quit my job, and I'd saved a bit of money just to make sure that I could live and pay my bills and eat. And I'm from a part in Wales that we're called Cardies.
Okay.
So it's not that we're frugal, but we watch the pennies kind of thing. So when I decided to quit my job and open Olew as a brand, I was very strict in the fact that I only wanted to put £100 into the business, which is so different to most people that I speak to, like other entrepreneurs. They go for funding, crowdfunding, seed funding, all of these things. But I literally was like a one-man band with £100. So my first website, like if I look at it now, it was ridiculous. It was the most basic thing, and I didn't even have a checkout. So I had a link to like PayPal to like people to just send me money, like you would. It was
something. It works.
Yeah, it was something because I didn't have to pay for it.
Yeah.
So in my head, I was like, okay, I've spent my £100. I've got my ingredients. I've got all the safety stuff done. I did the logo out of painting something myself, which is still the same today, really. The letters.
Yeah.
And used some cushions and some materials that I really liked around my house. Took the picture, and the logo was born as well.
Because it's got I've seen on your website and your Instagram, it's got that artistic, creative kind of branding, like homemade stuff. But yeah.
So I was like, if I can sell 100 of these, then I've got a business. And then up until today, everything that I make out of the business, I reinvest into the business. So I haven't borrowed anything or had any funding or anything like that, which is quite unusual when I speak to other people. And the brand grew from just one bottle of Olew original, which is the hair oil for growth and repair, to now we've got 6 products in the range. But from that kind of small kitchen startup, I went out and started networking with a lot of people, which obviously you have to do. And I found an amazing business partner who is a chemist. So he's a part of the Royal College of Chemistry in the UK, and he's been in the beauty industry for about 30 years. So in terms of getting the best ingredients and the best formulations, I'm so blessed to have him as a business partner that helps me with all the formulations.
Amazing. So yeah, that's a kind of an important part, because there's many different ways to approach this. I guess you can have the brand and then have different providers of the product, but manufacturing is obviously super important to get that right. So that's how you went about that?
Yeah, just to upscale, because there's only one of me, and in my tiny flat in East London, packing the boxes, filling the bottles, labeling everything, doing customer service, doing social media, because I was on the tiniest budget. And to scale from that, obviously, you need to realize that I can't just be a woman of all trades if I want to really scale this and make more products to help the community that I'm already helping in terms of embracing their natural hair. So I think that's really, really important for every entrepreneur to realize that.
Yeah, you need help. You need a team. But you managed to do it. So you didn't raise money. So you must have, when you launched in 2018, when did you sell the first product, and what was the sort of trajectory from there?
So I sold the first product 2 days after I actually incorporated the business. And it was all through pre-orders. So I was like, right, I'll just put a little post on Instagram, try and get all my friends to share it. So I was like, and just did an honest kind of post about and a picture of my hair before I used my hair oil and afterwards, and said, look, it does work. Look at my hair now, how it looked ages ago, awful. If you'd like to try some, there's a little discount. It's made by me, and I got in the first 2 days. I had like 46 orders.
Not bad.
Because I remember that.
Not bad.
And from
with
little old
£100.
me. Yeah. So I was like, oh my God. So I'd like pack it all up, go to the post office, run back down.
Yeah. Brilliant.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It's kind of, there's a really well-known company in the UK, Gymshark, who almost started like that as well, packaging their own things and stuff like that. It's a good way. It's a good organic way to start. Like, you've got demand from day one, even if it's only 46, but it's or 2 days. It's really good. And I'll talk about a bit about the category, but just continuing on from the start, you were also nominated for an award. How did you kind of win that last year?
So strange story. I was just working, and something on my phone popped up, and people had mentioned me, on an Instagram story, and I was like, what's going on? And I only found out through people mentioning me from this article. I had no idea that I was nominated. Well, I was top 30 under 30 in Wales, like Welsh entrepreneurs.
Amazing.
Which is amazing. And recently finalists of global startup and retail startup.
Wow.
Which is so exciting.
It's really cool. So it all started from there, from 2018, from doing the product yourself. How did you? We talked about manufacturing, we talked about the brand, and obviously the PayPal powered website, but distribution nowadays is really hard to figure out. It's not sort of like a retail product would have been before. So what was your business approach at the start, and how did it happen?
So my business approach at the start was very much like business to consumer, because that's how that's the easier way of doing it for me, because that was my experience.
They call these, some people have been on before with vitamins, gummy vitamins, right? Do you remember those guys, Ali, talking to the producer? Yeah. But they called it digital native vertical brand, DNVB. Do you call yours that?
I guess it is. Yeah.
So direct to consumer, online only. So you're not going out trying to get a Tesco contract in day one.
Not on day one. No, my actual plan was to target small boutiques, especially in Wales.
Okay.
And there's two reasons for that. Obviously, one, the name of the brand is Welsh, so I knew that a lot of Welsh boutique places would love to stock it, and I know that the customers would.
Yeah. What does it mean?
Oil in Welsh.
Should have asked that earlier. Olew, okay.
Because it was my first product, and I was like, I need something that's a little bit different.
Yeah.
And also, I really like that people don't pronounce it well, because it opens up the conversation of like, so there is a Welsh language? Oh, okay. And then I was like, yeah, it's my first language. And so that's another strand of the business.
But it's better than oil hair, firstly. And secondly, it's got that sort of beauty category like L'Oreal. It's got that sort of flair about it. 2 syllables, 4 letters. It's not bad.
Yeah, and also interestingly, you said L'Oreal. So someone said to me, oh, when you make it big, are you going to change the name? Because, it's a Welsh word. And I was like, no, why? No, it's my brand name. But also, no one really says that about L'Oreal. That's a French name.
Yeah.
Or, you've got Louis Vuitton, or all of these words that are used. And I was like, why is someone asking me that? But that's another conversation for another day.
Yeah, amazing. So you targeted boutiques. Are you obviously a lot of the period you're launched is in the last 18 months has been pandemic, and we'll get to the move here. But are you at markets? Are you selling this yourself at sort of pop-up events and things like that?
So before the pandemic, I used to do a lot of that. But since the pandemic, there hasn't been any opportunity to do that, unfortunately. But I have been doing pop-up like markets online, so like on Facebook Lives Instagram Live, and on Facebook. So I'd turn my flat into a little market, and I'd actually have a stand, and put all of my products out and have
Very
my
smart.
yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, we just like talk to customers virtually because obviously they were at home in lockdown.
Yeah.
So that was really fun. And I think the one thing about doing things like that is that you understand your customer like directly, which is super, super important. And from the feedback that I get from my customers, that's how I develop my next product. So I don't actually just copy another brand and see what products they do. I actually ask the people that use my products and say, okay, what would you like? And then they get to test it and give me advice and things like that.
Interesting.
So,
And so it's evolved now, and really keen to ask a little bit more about the category, because it was fascinating when you introduced it. I don't know a lot about curly hair, obviously, but Ali, your audible laugh can be heard. No, but so sorry. So just on the distribution and direct to consumer and trends like this, what's the price point, and do you find that people are ordering in bulk? Do you have a subscription model? How does it work? How does the purchasing cycle work as well?
So to begin with, a lot of people go to our first product, the Olew Original. So it depends on where they are in their hair journey. So if they have just stopped straightening their hair and their hair needs some TLC, they start with the Olew Original because they know that that's our baby, and there's loads of reviews about it, and we get mentions on Instagram every day about it. So they normally start with that, which is around 90 dirhams for a 30 ml bottle. But with all of my products, because I am a curly haired person, a little goes a long way, because one thing that I really didn't like about lots of the products out there is that you have to use about half the tub to get the results, and then you have to buy another one in a week. So I wanted value for money, and lots of people say, oh well, you could make more money if people used it quicker, and I was like, that's not my mantra. I was like, that used to annoy me as a consumer, so I was like, I'm definitely not doing that. So yeah, they start off with the oil, and then within about 4 weeks they'll go to the curl cream, which is 110 dirhams. The curl cream and the gel, so it's the styling trio, which is the most popular, especially in humid kind of temperatures and climates. Those are like our product heroes. And then the shampoo and conditioner will always be at the end of their kind of journey once they've really trusted us. But there are differences in different markets. So for example, when a lot of Emirati ladies would purchase Olew when I was in the UK, they'd buy the whole bundle, and I guess that's because they didn't want to keep purchasing postage and packaging twice or 3 times.
So you can sell them even if it's the 6 products, you can sell them in the bundle. Yeah. Okay. And so how did that happen? How did the Emirati interests happen, and how did you end up here?
Yeah. So I think first of all, on my social media, I had a few pictures of ladies in their shaylas, and just represented them as women that have hair, because I think a lot of brands forget that because you don't see their hair doesn't mean that they don't have hair or purchase products.
Exactly. Amazing.
So I think that representation matters across all things. I think with curly hair, more pictures of women with curly hair in professional settings and in magazines and things would really help women embrace their hair. But going back to the Emirati connection and why I'm here, that was one aspect of it. And then there was a stockist in Kuwait who I met in London just before the pandemic, and she stocks lots of curly hair products. And so, oh well, yours isn't very well known. I don't really know if it's going to work. And I said, look, I'm going to give you 5 bundles for free. Go and try them. Anything that you make on them, the profit's yours. Just go back to Kuwait and see how it goes. She calls me in like a week. She's like, I've sold everything. People want to buy more. Like they've used it and they've told their friends they want to use it. And we were like, oh, she was like, I can't believe it.
Wow.
So so from there, she's one of my biggest stockists, and orders like such large quantities every month. And what's really nice is she stocks all these well-known brands that have been around and established for years and years. She said once someone buys Olew, they repeat buy it. So the highest kind of repeat purchase is through my brand. So as soon as they kind of introduce it, then she's like, I know that they'll continue to purchase it. So from that, and then in lockdown, I had a lot of people in Saudi Arabia and the UAE just purchase, and postage, especially in the pandemic, was super slow and so expensive. I was still getting orders from this region, and there's something inside me like, surely I should be there, and they don't have to pay all this postage, and they can get it quicker. So that's why I'm here to launch it for everyone here.
So it's a great story. It's a leap of faith to just shows how authentic you are in a way. The brand is to give the product for free, and to tap into a market like that. It's interesting. People can plan market entries with budget analysis, research, and that did it for you. It's kind of like how you come up with the new products as well. But so you were in the UK, and your customers were your friends, and they were stockists, and they were boutique places in Wales, and it's a Welsh name. Were you focused on the UK market, or did you have an inclination that you wanted it to be digital and global?
So my strategy was I wanted it to be digital and global, but I knew at the start like you can't just be digital and global from the beginning. And I knew that niche, like having your niche, is so important, especially as a small business. And I knew that I had the Welsh community, that everyone that speaks Welsh loves anything that's in the Welsh language, and two, people with curly hair, which is another niche. So I stuck to that niche to begin with and grew that. And I thought if I can grow that successfully, and people like the product, and they keep purchasing and repurchasing and trusting in my new products, and really just being amazing advocates for the brand without me telling them to do so, then I was like, I can do that across the globe. That's what I'm going to do here. So I haven't launched it, but I'll give you a cheeky insight. We're going to be launching Olew in a kind of Arabic oud scent, all in Arabic writing, because of, I guess there's two reasons. I guess Dubai is quite similar, well, not similar at all to Wales, but in terms of the language. So you could be in Dubai and you'd never have to learn Arabic and you'd still be fine. And I think in Wales, you could live in Wales and you never have to learn Welsh and you'd still get by. So there's those two things I think is really, really similar. And I'd like to kind of share that understanding and have Arabic labels as well for the Emirati community here, and show that I do care about their language and their culture, and I do live here, and I kind of understand that underrepresentation of you being you, in both ways. So in showing your hair or in a shayla and your language and culture.
And will you do the matching logo with the Arabic for Olew? Trying to think how that would work. Cool. But so just going on the move and the choice to move, like 2 years into your business roughly, or 3, in February this year, typically companies that expand out of Wales and England, and I just know a lot of this about Ireland, there are business networks, there are groups, there's enterprise boards to help people market entry, there's distribution connections and things like that. It seems that your approach was the other way around. It was from demand rather than, hey, this is a successful Welsh company, let's help them over there. Is that what happened, or is there also a Welsh network that you're tapping into?
Not at the moment, no.
Okay.
So it's just all organic, and I think I'm probably slightly different to other entrepreneurs that you've spoken to, and I kind of just go with faith and my gut, which has worked well so far. So there's I don't have any kind of help in terms of that. I have been approached now while I'm here from kind of Welsh government to help with exporting and things like that. But no, I took the plunge and just looked at my figures and looked at my customers, and a lot of them were from this region, and all my stockists that were performing kind of high numbers were from this region. So I was like, it just makes sense to be here.
Well, it's a fascinating region for this category. I know we both spoke about Anisha, who was on the podcast very recently from The Secret Skin, and talked about the numbers. I can't remember at the top of my head, but the numbers in the category is fascinating. So you must have kind of looked at those and went, well, that's amazing. If I can do what I'm doing now, and then I can tailor it for Saudi, for Kuwait, for UAE, it's you'll probably be you'll probably be fully focused on here. You'll forget about Wales.
No, never. Similarly to Secret Skin, really, we're all about clean beauty and just understanding that customers right now, well, a lot of people are kind of moving away from this. There's like this fast fashion and there's also fast kind of beauty, and they're moving away from that way of thinking and kind of looking at ingredients and saying, okay, this isn't, why am I putting this on my scalp? That's awful, like chemical stuff. There's a huge push from consumers.
But I wonder how much of it is that the product is good, and by default it's good because it's got good ingredients, but it's good. So, for example, the question really is, there are multinational brands that can potentially bulk this trend you spoke about, and it's fascinating to know more about straightening hair and looking after curly hair, so they can follow that trend without being clean. Can they? Is it possible to have a product that looks after curly hair without being clean?
I think there is, but it's only for kind of a short term. So I used to use kind of those products, and then you get results, like instant results, like fast fashion. Get a nice little T-shirt that was 10 dirhams, and then in a week you have to put it in the bin because it washed and it's about this big.
Yeah, and there's all sustainability issues about how that cotton was produced and everything like that.
And I think the same with the beauty industry. So something that isn't clean and isn't natural will give you the same results, but it's going to damage your hair in a month's time. So you're actually you've paid half the price, but you've damaged your hair, so now you're going to have to pay more to repair for your hair. So I think that way of thinking, a lot of people are now coming round to it slowly.
And just on the kind of straight hair thing, because when you described it, I was kind of like, is that why they do it? But why? Like, I'm just fascinated by that notion that the perception of beauty means you have to straighten your hair, because people, girls particularly, females particularly, because they've got more curly hair than men in general, but just in particularly, they straighten their hair all the time. Why? Because of that image? They no other reason, not personal choice, or?
No, I think it's just drummed into you from a young age. And I don't know if you watched the Friends reunion. And it kind of really had that moment.
Jennifer Aniston's straight hair, that beauty look.
That was what everyone wanted to look like. And I put it on my Instagram, and I was like, was this a massive factor of why you grew up straightening your hair? And everyone was like, 100%.
And then there was what's that hair straightener product?
GHD.
GHD,
God, they were like, I had them for Christmas, and I was like, thought I was the luckiest person. And that was like the 90s, early noughties, and it's still going through today. That people, you just think actually, it's more sophisticated, you're more well put together, it's more professional, you look a bit, more glamorous.
Not scruffy or whatever, that perception,
And there is still that perception of it, and I think even like men, I've had a lot of men now use Olew, because they would go to work and always shave their hair like very, very short, so it's just a lot more professional. Or they'd even blow dry or straighten their hair, because they're like, it's a lot more professional to go in looking all neat and tidy. And now loads of men buy the curl cream, the oil, the gel, shampoo, to just be like, actually, no, I feel so much freer just be having my own hair, and just I feel like more creative and just more me. And I was like, yes, that's exactly what we want.
More personality, amazing. You spoke already about the products, but just naive question: at what stage does one use the oil? Is it after you shower? Or when?
So there's loads of different ways of using it, so it's very multi-purpose. So if your hair is damaged, I definitely recommend putting it on when it's soaking wet, because when your hair is soaking wet, the cuticles of the hair is open. So the moisture will go straight in, so it'll kind of feed your hair all the goodness. Before I came on, I wanted to zhuzh my hair a little bit because I was a bit flustered because I thought I was late. So I put a few drops in and kind of zhuzhed my hair, and it kind of helps just give you a bit of volume and shine.
Do you carry the oil around with you?
Yeah, it's in my bag.
Okay, interesting.
It's also really good. So if people have very dry scalps, dandruff, eczema, you can kind of put it in your scalp, kind of do a scalp massage, which helps with all of that. And it also helps with your growing your hair, because you're what's the word? Gone all shy. like stimulates the blood flow in your scalp. So,
Yeah.
So those 3, and then also the last one, which is very curly hair specific, is you can spray water into your hair. So when you wake up, sometimes you don't want to bother washing your hair because you just want to lie in, or you just want to zhuzh your hair a little bit. So you spray some water, add a few drops of the oil and scrunch it in, and it just revitalizes your curls, so you're ready to go for the day.
Wow, interesting. Fascinating. Learning something every time, but this is great. So the 6 products, where do you go from here? You know, obviously it stems from your personal from curly hair, but some of the products now are shampoo that anyone can use, and then maybe body washes and things like that. Is that what you're thinking? Oil related?
Yeah, you read my mind. You know my strategy.
I was thinking, how could I use it?
So I want to kind of pay homage to the word Olew, so the oil. So we're looking into kind of doing bath oils, body oils, face oils, kind of oil moisturizers, base things like that.
Okay.
So create it more into a brand that does specifically help curly hair, but also, you know, we concentrate on all the oils because all of our products are all kind of oil based.
Yeah, amazing. So even moisturizers, it's amazing. So really, there's a lot of room for growth. There's a lot of different products and lines and things.
Yes, I think like I said, we've kind of kept to our niche of curly hair. But now that I know that people like the scent, they like the products, and they know they're good quality, so I know that we've got kind of that good network of people that will kind of buy the next bit of our brand.
Yeah, amazing. And so just talk about the digital aspect of it. How did you upgrade it from the start, and where are you now in terms of payment gateways, tech and stuff like that?
Yeah, so
do you have an app? Do you have things like that? Are you on marketplaces?
Yes, so we upgraded from the shoddy website to kind of the Shopify, so kind of the premium Shopify websites, and you can use any kind of card really from that, PayPal, MasterCards, American Express, any kind of cards. And in terms of kind of digitalizing it and looking at tech, so we've started to do online consultations, because I feel like different to other brands, people like to speak to me or my employees who also have curly hair and ask our advice, but kind of face to face. Obviously, we can't do that because of the pandemic. So we've done free online consultations with any purchase to see how it went, and we were like fully booked as soon as we launched it.
Are they free? Is it just a kind of
free to begin with, just to see how they go, and obviously for us to kind of in very like lean startup way to understand, okay, this works, this doesn't work, we can put money into this, maybe not that. But it's really helped in lots of different ways. So obviously understanding our customer, which is super, super important. Having that relationship, and for people to realize that these products were made and are still made, you know, for you specifically. It's not because we know that, you know, I started it and I didn't even know that there was money within that marketplace. It was just specifically to help women. So to really still have that message, so we started to do those, and now we've decided to do longer versions, and you have to pay for them, but you kind of, it's a bit like going to a doctor's surgery. And we give you kind of a full analysis of what you need, what you should do every day, and give you kind of a prescription of what you should do, which is working really, really well. So from there, we want to kind of develop an app to help us with that. But that's
based on these features,
but that's all in kind of loose terms at the moment. But,
well, you know, it's fascinating with digital now. You don't really need to, because Shopify is so good, and other marketplaces, it's so good that way. And social media, you can do selling on that as well. But yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, it's fascinating you talk about the pandemic, and we may as well mention it, but the acceleration of digital in regards to online consulting and things like that. One of our colleagues yesterday was telling me about like a yoga, what do they call it? Like an active wear company that now does yoga classes online as subscription streaming, because, you know, like could have done it for free and then does it as a package. So it's kind of like a multi-purpose type company now. How did you find the pandemic business-wise, and also then that sort of digital part?
So to begin with, obviously everyone thought it was going to be the worst thing in the world, and I thought, who's going to buy hair products in a pandemic? Like, what? This is awful. But I think we stuck. I never changed my messaging of Olew being like a carefree hair care beauty products. Like, it's not kind of high maintenance. It should be just you put it on, your hair looks good, and you can enjoy life, and you're not in the bathroom for 2 hours doing your hair. So that was my key message, and I think until the pandemic, I don't think it really resonated with as many people as it should have done. And I don't know about you, but I feel like the pandemic made everyone go back to basics a little bit and reevaluate life and slow down and understand, like, why am I doing certain things? So a lot of women just thought, why am I straightening my hair every day? What have I been doing for the rest, like for about 10, 20 years of my life? What? I don't need to do this. And because they weren't going out to meet people, they were like, oh, actually, I can give my hair a break. And Olew always talked about this, so maybe I should give it a go.
Yeah.
So that was how it started. And then people would share their results of every week, just organically, not with us asking. And that just sped us into kind of, our sales tripled within a few months of the pandemic. We were just completely snowed under. My apartment, because at the time, so our fulfillment centre closed down, so I had to bring it all back into my flat. So I was packing boxes. I'd wake up at 3 a.m. in the morning, sometimes 4 a.m, and not go to bed until about 11. So I'd have 3 or 4 hours sleep just packing boxes. Obviously, I couldn't even have someone to come and help me because it was lockdown. So yeah, I was in my flat,
cool.
and boxes were just like, I was eating food on boxes. It was just crazy. So yeah, the pandemic really, really, I think, just pushed the message across that embrace your natural hair, because why are you doing it? And people are like, actually, I don't know why I'm doing it. I'm just doing it to please other people. Whereas they were like, actually, I look a lot nicer with my natural hair. What have I been doing?
Yeah, interesting. There was a lady from Glamazelle before on the podcast who has an e-commerce platform here in the Middle East, and mentioned the same thing about the pandemic, that the products, those type of products that are to do with self-care and cleanliness just went skyrocket, and all the other, she had a word for them, but the other beauty products like makeup just went really down. But it was a flip, and you were right place, right time. But also, but also obviously, there's a demand for this beyond the pandemic, you would think.
Yeah, I've so this was something I was like quite nervous about, but there's just been a different need. So when we went into the pandemic, a lot of women were stopping to straighten their hair, and they wanted to understand what products to use, what techniques to use. Now, because they've had about a year to do all of that, they're now wanting what hairstyles can I do with my curly hair? How can I dry my hair in a certain way? So there's just a different need, which we still cater for through the consultations, and obviously we now have hair accessories to kind of help with that as well. So, but no, it's here to stay, and I think that understanding of self-care and understanding, okay, we need to look after our own well-being and ourselves rather than just being like busy bees that constantly. I think that's gonna stay.
Yeah, definitely. And you've come out of the pandemic. We're still in it, like 18 months or so, but your business has obviously grown through the pandemic, so that's a good position to be in. Now that you're in Dubai, how did you go about setting up the business? Are you going to start looking for investment now? Or are you going to continue the organic path?
So I'm going to continue the organic path for a few months. I've already got a few stockists in line in the UAE, and so as soon as my shipment comes, they'll be stocking it. On our website, we've got a specific UAE website, so olew.ae, where people can subscribe to the newsletter and get the best discount and understand when they can actually purchase directly from our website. But I have been speaking to a few womenpreneurs, and I am going to kind of look into different types of funding, because I feel like it might help me elevate a lot quicker and just grow a lot quicker than I have been doing, because I know that I've got a good brand. We've got about 80% of people repurchase on the website, which is amazing.
And you're profitable.
We're profitable. We don't have any
Mm.
loans,
Wow.
nothing, and our cash flow is really, really good. So
Mm.
if we just had a bit of a cash injection, I think we'd really, really benefit from it.
What would you use that for? Would you do manufacturing in the UAE? Would you do marketing? Would you look maybe more at Africa and other markets like that?
Yeah, I think it depends on how much money I get, but like all of that.
All of it. Yeah.
So it would be good to have manufacturing here, so we wouldn't have to ship everything from the UK.
Yeah.
It'd also be great to have kind of a sales team, so to have targets, and they could target, you know, specific stockists and in different regions. So I think we could really concentrate on the GCC countries in the first year, and then from there kind of look at Australia, East Africa, as kind of shipping hubs from the UAE.
Yeah, fascinating, interesting. And so just going back to previously, so did you choose a free zone here, or how did you kind of establish the business?
So I chose a free zone in Sharjah. I did a lot of research, and obviously because it's e-commerce, it doesn't really matter where it's registered, and it was slightly cheaper there as well. So
okay, and you don't have an office yet?
No, I've never really had an office.
Okay.
I just kind of like to just go everywhere, but I will be having a fulfillment center, which we're in talks with, so just finalising that.
Yeah, and will you travel to Kuwait and meet the stockists again, and will you travel to Saudi Arabia when possible?
Yeah, so she's actually coming to Dubai next month. We're going to do a photo shoot in the desert with lots of curly-haired ladies.
Cool.
So that's going to be awesome.
Nice.
And it'll be the launch of the Arabic oud range as well. So
like very good.
Yeah.
Good planning. You've just given it away now, by the way.
No.
But and so that's really, really brilliant story. And just finally as well, like what's your view on the region of the Middle East? What's your view on it, not just in the category that you're in, but sort of as an entrepreneur here now? Are you what's your exposure of it so far? How are you kind of getting au fait with the market, with the region, and how do you see it as an emerging market?
From my personal opinion, it was quite difficult to get everything set up, but I think that's when you move to any other country, it's a lot more difficult than what you envisaged, but it's all good now. But I think it's just, I know this sounds really cliche, but it is, I feel like it's a land of opportunity. You know, when people talk about the American dream, I feel like that's here. I think if you work hard enough and you kind of understand what you're doing and you really just put your mind to it, I think you can do really, really, really well here.
Great.
And I think there's this attitude of just embracing new things. Like everything, like you can look out the window and something new has already popped up. And I think that's the same in the people that live here. I think anything new people absolutely love. So
brilliant, I'm sure, and they love your product. Olew, thank you very much. Elinor, thanks for joining the podcast. It's a pleasure to hear your story, and we'll follow your journey in the future.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. That's it for another episode of Dubai Works. Thank you so much for listening, and please leave a review on the podcast platform that you're listening to. It really helps with organic searches. Also, if you'd like to appear on Dubai Works or know someone who has an inspiring business story in Dubai, please do get in touch on any of the smashy social platforms.